Year one of the Jeff Lebby era in Starkville is underway, and these are three big questions the Bulldogs need to answer this spring. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, which drops daily on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us all across social media on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And, of course, guys, stay up to date with the latest from us over at SECUnfiltered.com. The next couple weeks for Mississippi State are pivotal as the spring game approaches, and the Dogs continue to put in work for year one of the Jeff Lebby era as it's a new era in Starkville, Mississippi. Again, these are three big questions that I feel the Mississippi State Bulldogs need to find answers to this spring. And as we start, guys, with number one, as I mentioned, the Jeff Lebby era is beginning. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz, and a lot of optimism around the program, as there should be. And I think a lot of that stems from what this thing is going to look like on the offensive side of the football. We can all agree, guys, what Zach Arnett did with Kevin Barbay at OC, the reinventing of the wheel with the late great Mike Leach and his passing going away from the air raid to whatever it is they did last year was a massive failure. Jeff Lebby is going to make Mississippi State football exciting on offense again. And as we've talked before, guys, you got to be different in MSU. I think bringing back an exciting brand of offensive football, doing things that are different. I'm not saying be gimmicky, but be a team that other teams look at and say, man, you know what? They may not have as much talent as us. They may not be as deep as us, but man, I am not looking forward to that 60 minutes of having to play them on that Saturday. I'm not looking forward to game planning against a Mississippi State. They're going to be that fly in your soup. They're going to be that team that is downright just annoying to play. I think Jeff Lebby is going to get there. I think his offensive attack, you look at what he did at Oklahoma, I think he's an offensive mastermind. It's honestly surprising it took Lebby this long to land a head coaching gig. My big question, though, and I think they've got to answer, my first big question is this: does Jeff Lebby have the personnel to run his offense? Everything from quarterback to running back to the receivers to the offensive line, right? It's a brand new era. So Jeff Lebby's got to look around that offensive coaching staff and say, okay, what do we have? We know what we want to run and we know what works, but do we have the personnel to fit to what we want to accomplish here offensively in 2024? I think that's the big priority, right? You got to take a look around, take account of what you have, right? You lose your top quarterback from a season ago. You lose your running back. You lose your top wide receiver. Mississippi State is practically replacing everything. So the first big question is this that you've got to get answered. Does Jeff Lebby have the personnel to run his offense? And if he does not, how much of the offense can they run? Can they run 50%? Can they run 70%? Can they only run 20%? You got to figure that out in the spring. Identify what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and play to those things. Play to those strengths and maximize them, if you will. My second big question that the Bulldogs need to answer this spring: brand new defensive coordinator as well. Coleman Hutzler takes over. This is a name he's bounced around from SEC school to SEC school, done really good work, but for the first time in his career is now a defensive coordinator. Can Coleman Hutzler get Mississippi State football back to being dominant on defense? Guys, admittedly, even with as great as Mike Leach was, when I think of Mississippi State, I think of dominant defense. Bottom line, I think of hard-nosed, nasty defense. Like the brand of Mississippi State football in my mind, long before it was air raid, was just hard-nosed, great defensive lines, physical, big-time defense. Mississippi State's got to get back there on the defensive side of the football. They were not good last year. State was not good all throughout the year. You could see it time and time again. The holes, very leaky defense. Coleman Hutzel. Now, this was, I don't want to call it a risky hire, but a guy who's never been a DC before. All of a sudden, right? Hey, you're stepping in the limelight. You're now a defensive coordinator. It's all on you at the SEC level. Is Coleman Hutzler that guy to get Mississippi State football back to playing the brand of defense that I think so many of us are accustomed to, right? Because you're going to need it on both sides of the football as the Jeff Lebby era gets going. And as you're figuring things out offensively, they're going to need the defense to step up. You're going to get to 6-6. I think both sides of the football have to take a step forward, but that includes the defensive side. Guys, before we go any further, I want to tell you about our friends over at MyBookie, because today's segment is brought to you by MyBookie. And guys, March Madness is just around the corner. You want to make sure you're set up, ready to go, ready to break the bookie and win some money this March and April with our friends over at MyBookie. Head over to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code SECU at sign up to receive a deposit bonus of $1,000. Guys, we got the games upcoming literally this weekend. The best weekend, you could argue, in all of sports. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first 2 rounds of March Madness. You want to make sure you're set up with our friends at MyBookie. And guys, they're going to have literally everything. Of course, individual game-by-game lines, totals. You can rock parlays. They got plenty of prop bets as well. You can go ahead and place your future bets on who you think is going to win the national championship. And oh, by the way, guys, they've got props for everything else. They got futures for college football. They got MLB, which is around the corner. They've got NBA. Everything you can think of. And oh, by the way, they got a casino as well. So again, our friends over at MyBookie, that's mybookie.ag. Sign up today using the promo code SECU to get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. And guys, they take whatever, card, bank transfer, MoneyGram, Bitcoin, you name it. They've got it, and they can help you out, and they can set you up. MyBookie.ag, promo code SECU at sign-up. Guys, my third and final big question that the Mississippi State Bulldogs need to answer this spring is this. Anytime you got a new quarterback, guys, spoiler, that's going to be a big talking point. That's going to be a big topic of conversation. Is Blake Shapen, the Baylor transfer, is he the answer at the quarterback position? Is he the man to run Jeff Lebby's offense? Because the quarterback, there's so much pressure on the quarterback position. There's so much pressure on the quarterback as a whole, right, in Jeff Lebby's offense. Being that field general and commanding the offensive attack, is Blake Shapen that guy? Guys, I think you look at the numbers, and I was surprised at sort of the negative reaction that fans had to Blake Shapen committing to Mississippi State. You know, I know this is a guy that the numbers were, and you look back at last year, people say he got benched. He actually got hurt. This is a guy 2 years ago, guys, that was an all-conference player. I mean, really, truly. So I think he's capable of doing it, but this spring for a guy like Blake Shapen, who, again, brand new system, brand new scheme, everything is brand new for everyone. Getting Blake Shapen accustomed, going to be really, really key and really important and really interesting to see what he does in the spring game and what that offensive attack looks like in the spring game. Do we see a guy in Blake Shapen who looks like at least he has command of the offense and understanding, but you got to have the right trigger man, and Jeff Lebby's offense. Is Blake Shapen the answer? So, guys, my 3 big questions the Mississippi State Bulldogs need to answer this spring. Number 1, does Jeff Lebby have the personnel to run his offense? Number 2, can Coleman Hutzler get State back to being dominant on defense? And number 3, is Blake Shapen the answer at the quarterback position? Guys, that's going to do it all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications, guys, of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, which drops daily on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And, of course, guys, stay up to date with the latest from us over at our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We'll catch you on the other side.